Hello and Happy New Year! 2018 is officially done and dusted, meaning it's time to look ahead to all the games we're most excited to see in 2019. Assuming they don't all get delayed into the middle of next year, that is. We've handpicked 18 for your viewing pleasure, so let's get started. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is first on our list of games we want in 2019. The latest release from Soulsborne creator Hidetaka Miyazaki, it's a big departure from the type of game we're used to seeing from Software. Sekiro is set in 16th century Japan and you play as a shinobi whose lord was kidnapped. During that attack, one of your arms was severed and has since been replaced with a prosthetic, earning you the nickname Sekiro or One-Armed Wolf. With this shiny new arm and an array of equipable gadgets, it's up to you to rescue your lord and get some of that sweet, sweet revenge. Gameplay-wise, there are a few key differences between Sekiro and other From Software games that have left us really intrigued. For one thing, there's no character creation or character classes to speak of. For another, while we're used to sneaking up on enemies for a cheeky backstab every now and then, this game actually has fully fleshed out stealth mechanics, making for some very different combat approaches. Also, from this footage, you certainly don't need me to tell you that movement is very different from the standard fare. It's a bold departure from the norm then, and one that has us very excited to see what it can do. From swords to shotguns now with Doom Eternal. A sequel to the 2016 reboot, this is actually the 5th main game in the Doom series, and with twice as many demon types promised this time round, it should be pretty bloody interesting. As in the last game, there's a big emphasis on being aggressive in your role as the Doom Slayer, using high-powered weaponry and glory kills in order to keep your health and ammo nicely topped up. Multiplayer will of course return for Doom Eternal, but there's also an asymmetrical mode called Invasion, in which players can take on the role of demons in other players' single-player missions, getting a taste for what life is like on the other side of this hellish battle. Ian is very, very excited about this one, so you can be sure we'll have more Doom Eternal coverage for you on the channel closer to launch. While we're talking about gratuitous violence, Mortal Kombat will be making a return in 2019 with the release of Mortal Kombat XI. At the moment, all we have is this trailer which shows Dark Raiden and Scorpion duking it out in suitably bombastic style, but if Mortal Kombat X was anything to go by, then we should be in for a treat. There'll be more stuff revealed about Mortal Kombat XI on the 17th of January, so keep your eyes peeled for more details then. Next up is Anthem, a multiplayer shooter from BioWare and, effectively, EA's answer to Destiny. For quite a while, it was a bit tricky to grasp what Anthem really is, but now it's getting closer to launch, it actually looks like a pretty decent experience. In Anthem, you play as a freelancer, which is a fancy term for a javelin pilot. A javelin is a fancy term for the flying exosuits that feature so heavily in trailers and gameplay. As a freelancer, you take missions from various quest givers in the hub world of Tarsis, then team up with people online in order to see them done, while also looking out for relics from the Anthem of creation. But while it may strike you as just another space shooter, BioWare has promised a strong single-player element to proceedings that should help set it apart from its contemporaries. I'm intrigued either way, and with a couple of betas coming up before launch, it shouldn't be hard to give it a go for yourself and see if you fancy picking it up. If you prefer your action a bit more down to earth though, then you could do far worse than picking up Metro Exodus. The third in the series, Exodus follows on from the events of Metro 2033 and Metro Last Light, as protagonist Artyom makes his way across Russia with a select band of travelling companions, meeting new friends and horrifying adversaries along the way. With humans and mutants both standing in your way, you'll be in for a typically hard fight as you try to make your way to Vladivostok to start a new life. But hey, at least the air above ground is safe to breathe these days. Next up is a game I personally am really not looking forward to, but I can at least recognise that it's a big enough deal to earn a place on this list. Kingdom Hearts III seeks to round off the frankly incomprehensible Kingdom Hearts story that's been woven across not just Kingdom Hearts 1 or 2, but 5 other releases across several different platforms, because why on earth should a game involving Mickey Mouse be any way straightforward? Anyway, Sora and his pals will be saddling up in this all-new adventure in order to finally bring an end to the Keyblade Wars, but at what cost? You can find out when the game launches toward the end of January. I, for one, will not. If you fancy recapping the story so far though, former Eurogamer video team member Bendix made us a comprehensive explanation across all the games in the series, so give that a watch and do get caught up. While we're talking about long-anticipated sequels though, I have to admit I am extremely excited about Shenmue III, a game I honestly never thought would see the light of day. Closing out Ryo Hazuki's journey to defeat Lan Di and avenge his father's death, Shenmue III is the concluding part in a trilogy that started on the Dreamcast all the way back in 1999. Will it be any good? I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure it will be. The stuff I've seen so far hasn't been super encouraging, and the budget for making Shenmue III is a fraction of the original, but with any luck I'll be wrong and this will, in fact, be a tour de force. Either way, it'll be nice to get a sense of closure.
Jesus, stay back!
Resident Evil 2 is next on our list of games we want to see in 2019. Resi 2 returns to the story of Leon Kennedy and Claire Redfield as they fight to escape Raccoon City. But don't mistake it for a simple HD re-release, Resident Evil 2 is a proper remake, doing away with fixed camera angles for a third-person camera that will be familiar to anyone who played Resident Evil 4 or 5. Hopefully there won't be any boulder punching in this one though. Anyway, IFA has had a good go on the Resi 2 remake and so far is suitably impressed. So check out the channel for some more detail on this one if it's something you feel like sinking your teeth into. Unlike Resident Evil 2, the next game we want in 2019 is an HD re-release, but it's one that's very close to my heart, and nobody was watching when I wrote this script, so I stuck it on the list anyway. Onimusha Warlords tells the story of Samurai Samanosuke as he attempts to rescue Princess Yuki. Set in a feudal Japan stuffed with horrible monsters, you must cut down your enemies and seal their souls in a special gauntlet that powers your sword and transforms it into all sorts of different elemental forms. It's really good, this one, so you can bet I'll be covering it the moment it launches. Now, this next title also concerns itself with hacking up monsters. Devil May Cry 5 follows the adventures of Nero, Dante, and new character V as they defeat hordes of demons as stylishly as possible. Confusingly enough, for fans of numbers, Devil May Cry 5 takes place not long after Devil May Cry 2, as Dante seeks the source of a series of demon attacks, while Nero hunts down the mysterious figure who pinched his prosthetic Devil Bringer arm. Nero instead now has the Devil Breaker arm, with all sorts of different forms that allow you to unleash some seriously impressive attacks. With series veteran Hideaki Itsuno at the helm, this is definitely one to watch for any Devil May Cry fan.
Ready to cut on! Fire! I want everything she's got!
Next up is another explosive action game, but one set during the golden age of piracy. Skull and Bones is an open-world naval game from Ubisoft. Effectively, it's a spin-off from the pirate action of Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Skull and Bones offers up a single-player campaign set in the Indian Ocean, but it's also placed a great deal of emphasis on its multiplayer offering, in which each player takes a pirate captain into disputed waters to sink their enemy and prove themselves the stuff of pirate legend. I played this one back at E3 2018 and had a really good time, so it's well worth a look in for anybody who enjoyed Black Flag and wants to get back to a life of crime on the high seas. Our next game is also one about making your way in a violent open world, only this time it's thanks to an asteroid hitting the Earth and turning a bunch of people into mutants. Rage 2 is set a full 30 years after the first game, putting you in the shoes of Walker, the last Ranger. The game follows Walker as he or she explores the post-apocalyptic wasteland, shooting scores of hostile extras from a Good Charlotte music video. With vehicular combat also on offer, Rage 2 is shaping up to be the most Mad Max video game we've seen since, well, Mad Max, the video game. And talking of games set after an apocalyptic event, The Division 2 is also scheduled for release this year. Taking place 7 months after the events of the first game, it's apparent the dollar flu that ravaged New York City was not stopped by the city quarantine after all. With the virus now present across the known world, players are sent to the streets of Washington DC to, quote, save the soul of America. This is mostly done by teaming up with fellow agents, equipping a bunch of high-tech gear and using it to kill scores of bad guys, occasionally dipping into the game's multiplayer dark zone to bag some high-level loot and screw over other players right when they're about to call in an extraction chopper. We'll have more on this game very soon, so be sure to keep your eyes peeled. This next game is one we know is coming out in 2019, but beyond that, details are very thin on the ground. Jedi Fallen Order is a Star Wars game coming from Respawn Entertainment, makers of the excellent Titanfall 2. Set just after Revenge of the Sith, it follows the story of a Padawan who managed to survive the deadly attack on the Jedi Order. Beyond that, we don't really know anything about this one, but it's certainly intriguing, and we can't wait to see more. Next is a game we have seen, and do know more about. It's Sunless Skies from Fail Better Games. This is a game that imagines what it would have been like if Victorian England made it into space and started to colonise the place, only then there were also space bees. If you never played Sunless Sea, it was a brilliant narrative game about exploring the deep and shaking hands with all the horrible things therein, and Sunless Skies looks to be a very similar experience. I mean, space bees, for crying out loud. If the murky reaches of space don't excite you though, you could always try Ooblet instead. It's a frankly adorable game about making friends, raising cute creatures, and gardening in an experience that's been described as Stardew Valley meets Pokemon. I played an early build of Ooblets a couple of years ago, and I can confirm it's great fun as well as being absolutely gorgeous to look at. So if you're looking for something cheerful to blow away the cobwebs, you could do far worse. Just 2 games left on our list now. I've saved these ones until last because they don't actually have release dates yet. The first I'm fairly sure will be coming out this year, unless it gets hit with a big delay. It's The Last of Us 2. The Last of Us 2 continues the action 5 years on from the events of the first game, featuring an Ellie who's a lot older and, if the trailers we've seen so far are anything to go by, a hell of a lot more dangerous. Interestingly, while we've seen plenty of Ellie taking down human enemies, we've not so far seen any infected. Just how prevalent they'll be and what form they'll take remains to be seen, but hopefully there'll be more to see soon. And finally, I'll be honest, if Cyberpunk 2077 comes out this year, I'd be very, very surprised, but hey, we can dream, right? CD Projekt Red's futuristic RPG looks, quite frankly, stunning, and I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how well it translates Mike Pondsmith's iconic pen and paper role-playing game into a first-person experience. I've actually done a few videos on that topic, should you want to check them out. You can find them on the channel right now. And there you have it, 18 games we want in 2019. What are you most looking forward to? Anything we missed off this list? Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, there are plenty more for you to watch. Some of them should be on screen now, so do give one of those a click. Do like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss anything more from Eurogamer, but most importantly, thank you very much for watching, and have a lovely day.
Sure hope our target's in there.